Hi, welcome to the Neil's Homestead, and today I'd like to give you a quick tour on what we have growing in the greenhouse currently. Right here next to me, and for a lot of this row, we have eggplant. These are a long, skinny type, long purple eggplant. These are blooming already. They don't have any fruit on them yet, but I believe this variety is Shikoyu or something. We've grown this one before. We really like it. They're nice sized, and they taste good as far as eggplant. Over here in the middle, we have a variety of different types of cherry tomatoes down through here. They also are blooming, and they'll be producing pretty soon. I don't think any of them have any fruit set yet. I think we have 5 different varieties of cherry tomatoes, different colors, different types. One of our favorite varieties is a variety called Sunburst. It's a yellow one. They're a little smaller after they get going, so they don't produce quite as much, but they really are flavorful. We just have a few peppers this year, just growing them for ourselves, and we weren't able to find any cayenne peppers, which is a variety that we really like, so this is kind of all we have for peppers. I think these might be sweet banana peppers, and then we bought some that are called Lunchbox, and then we bought some Marconis, which we prefer to grow over bell peppers. Bell peppers are kind of finicky. They like just the right conditions, and they tend to rot on the plant a lot. Marconis taste basically like bell peppers, but they're a little more forgiving as far as production, and they're more productive than the bell peppers are in our experience. These are ground cherries. We planted several of them this year, hoping to sell some. They are already producing. They make a tomato-like fruit inside of these husks, similar to like a little tomatillo, but they're sweet, very more fruit-like, berry-like. This one here is actually turning already and popped right off, so it may be ready. Let's open it and let's taste it. Oh yeah, it's turned a little bit. So they just pop right out of these little husks, and then you just bite it off like that. Yeah, that one's ready. They're kind of tropical to my notion. They taste a little bit like mango or other things like that. Kind of have this tropical flavor that you don't get on many fruit that grow in temperate regions. That's what we have about halfway down this row, and that's all we have in this greenhouse. So let's go over to the other greenhouse. In this greenhouse, we have some tomatoes. Again, a mix of varieties along this side that are not producing yet. And then here we have carrots, actually, that are going to seed, and for some reason I've left them to go to seed. These are planted last year, and we didn't harvest them, and because they're a biennial, they take 2 years to go to seed. So I'm just kind of curious what they do, and leaving them here amongst the tomatoes. In the middle row in here we have long beans. These are a variety of long beans. They're called sitaw in the Philippines, and they're a vining crop. They'll climb up this trellis, and then they produce these big long beans. They produce these big long beans that can be 3 feet long. That's why they're called yard long beans, and they're really easy to pick and to pick a lot of. We love to grow these, and we love the flavor of them too. There's a lot you can do. You can saute them and put them in soups, etc. So very productive. They'll produce the whole season long and easy to pick. And you can pick them every 2 to 3 days. Down here we have cucumbers, a couple different varieties. They're doing pretty good. They're already blooming. Actually, there's a cucumber right there that I hadn't seen. Probably better pick that one pretty soon, because that plant's still small. There's another one. That's exciting. There's another one. All right, that's it for in the greenhouse, but let's look right outside the greenhouse real quick. Next to the greenhouse we have our garlic. This is mostly elephant garlic, and it's getting pretty close to ready. Once these yellow a bit more, I'll probably start pulling them. They're usually ready mid to late June around here. I'll pull one and show you what it looks like, because they're getting pretty close to ready to harvest. So these get a lot larger than regular garlic, and I think they're easier to peel. They don't have as strong a flavor. It's a little more mild than others. This is a clove, kind of like regular garlic. Some of them will produce a big single clove that it's whatever you call it whenever there's just one. It's not a cluster of things. This one is a cluster of smaller ones, much like what you might think of normal garlic. You can chunk this up and put it in various things. You need to make sure to cook it plenty because it will be a little bit tough. I don't think it's tougher than normal garlic, but you might be tempted to think it's like an onion, and it's not. It needs more cooking like a garlic does. So there you can see the clove structure. As they get just a little bit more mature, like this outer skin will dry and it'll look a lot more like garlic. I'll put this down and I'm going to see if I can find one of the single clove large ones. You can't really tell till you pull them, but let me try. It's going to break off. There's a smaller version of them. That's basically what they look like, but they'll get that big. A little bit larger one. I'll show you this. I'll go ahead and peel it so you can see. As you can see, there's just one piece of garlic there. It's not divided into multiple pieces. It's just one single. I keep wanting to call it clove, but I'm not sure that's the right word. We can look over here real quick. In this row right here, where it looks like a whole bunch of grass, is actually a whole bunch of green onions. There's several hundred green onions in there that are still good. So they're good green onions with forming a bulb already. And then right next to us over here is the okra that we planted the other day. The variety that we usually grow is Clemson Spineless. Almost always grow that. And this year we've had a little trouble with them. Many of them haven't done well, and we lost several. They were pretty much dying before we planted them. We went ahead and planted them, and they have died. I'm hoping these bounce back and go ahead and grow. Again, I'm not quite sure what was going on. I think the soil was a little poor perhaps, and they did get aphids for a bit, which set them back. Some of them were showing signs that look basically like damping off, like that right there, which is kind of a bacteria thing getting in there and starting to eat them, which is odd because usually if they're going to damp off, they're going to damp off just not as a larger plant. So again, I'm not quite sure what went on with our okra this year, but it's not going to be a great crop. Hopefully we'll get some. The last crop that we have in this patch are some neck pumpkins, and these are basically like really long butternuts. They taste really good. We're partially growing them with the hope of getting pigs and feeding these to pigs. A good way to get some extra food to defray the cost of feeding out pork. And that's kind of it for this patch, except right behind me there are some wild blackberries that are growing, that are producing right now. These make a nice treat in the early summer, and I sent the kids out yesterday to pick some of them. You're not going to get a ton off of these little berries because they're not very big, but they are pretty good. A little bit sour, but it's a nice treat in the summer. They're still going to be producing for a little bit longer. So thank you all for watching and coming along with me on this little greenhouse tour. We'll see you next time.